Google Play ug Apple Store, YouTube ug Twitter. Alang sa mas ipakuskan nga mga balita, komentaryo, kasayuran ug kalingawan. DXDX Size 93, ang mas ipakuskan nga inyong Radyo Ronda.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Mga taga dito ang ganitong klaseng sitwasyon. They did not hold it in their traditional protest grounds amid the coronavirus pandemic. DXDX Santos, CNN Philippines.
I'm HONETEVEROS. Welcome to Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Tonight on the program, with one missing and another backing out, senators suspect there are efforts to prevent two Pharmaly executives from testifying on alleged irregularities in the company's billion-peso COVID-19 supply deal with the government. COMELEC has a lot on its plate this week as it prepares for the filing of certificates of candidacy and to wrap up or extend voter registration. And a story about a romance in a Paris nightclub bags 10 awards, including Best Musical at this year's Tony Awards. Well, after dropping a bombshell during her testimony at the Senate last week, an official of government supplier Pharmaly Pharmaceutical has gone off radar. Lawmakers are working on getting in touch with her to ensure her safety. Amor Santos joins us live. Amor, tell us more.
The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee has formally asked the National Bureau Investigation for assistance in tracking down Pharmaly official Crisel Grace Mago. It's been 3 days since the committee last talked to her. That's after her shocking admission that her company swindled the government by tampering the expiration dates of the face shields it bought from Pharmaly. Blue Ribbon Committee Chairman Richard Gordon says he received information that Mago is in a safe house with bodyguards, but he has no idea who's with her. He makes an appeal to Mago.
I've been kind to you. We've all been kind to you out of concern. You're a Paulinian. I hope you come to your senses if you're hiding. But if you're hiding from the bad guys, tell us because we will try to protect you.
Meanwhile, another Pharmaly executive director, Lynn Conong, now refuses to participate in an executive session with senators. It's upon the advice of his new counsel, Ferdinand Topacio, who claims the Senate probe has not been fair. According to Gordon, there are clearly efforts to prevent Mago and Ong from testifying. He says he believes it all traces back to President Duterte, who has been lambasting Senate hearings and defending his former economic advisor Michael Yang, who allegedly provided financial help for Pharmaly in its transactions with government.
Di ba nasasabing principal na pinakamalaking tao na tigilan niya na investigasyon? President Duterte. Kasama siya dyan kasama eh. Di may paliwanag ni Presidente bakit niya inaawat to. Di ba kataka ka? Kasi ang Presidente masyadong mataas ang dating eh. Ibang kala niya napaka-powerful niya eh.
Gordon warns Chinese businessman Michael Yang that he can be deported anytime. Back to you.
Amor, does that mean that Senator Gordon will file a complaint against Yang with the Bureau of Immigration?
As of now, Gordon says he's not yet planning on doing that just yet. He just wants to remind Michael Yang that his stay in the country is only a privilege and that the Chinese national should not be, quote, smug and thumbing his nose at the Filipino people. Yeah.
And what are the implications now that these two Pharmaly officials may refuse to cooperate with the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee?
For Gordon, nothing much. He says there's already a strong case against Pharmaly, Michael Yang, and the government officials involved in the alleged procurement anomalies. But there's no committee report yet. There will still be a 10th hearing on Thursday. Yeah.
Amor Santos there reporting. Following a Pharmaly official's admission of tampering, DIWA party list representative Michael Aglipay, who is also the House Good Government and Accountability Committee chairman, questioned health authorities if wearing the supposed expired medical-grade face shields resulted in the deaths of frontliners.
Nagkasakit po ba at saka may namatay dahil sa face shields na binigay ng DOH sa mga frontliners?
Wala. Malaking tulong po itong face shield na to sa mga frontliners natin.
Ma'am, please answer the question, yes or no lang. May namatay ba at nagkasakit sa face shield na mga inisyu ng DOH?
Wala naman po sa pagkakaalam namin po.
Surigao Representative Johnny Pimentel then concluded it was a good buy, saying the face shields were distributed and were utilized. Health Secretary Francisco Duque says medical-grade face shields generally have a 36-month shelf life. He explains the styrofoam glued on the face shield to cushion the wearer's forehead is what expires. Now, the panel will subpoena Pharmacy Executive Crisel Mago to the next hearing on October 4. Malacanang insists there is no corruption or irregularity in the procurement deal with Pharmacy, but on the issue of tampering of face shields, the palace says it must be substantiated. Malacanang, however, says it is up to the Justice Department if it will investigate the matter. The Health Department might also look into it.
Ang tanong po, tatayo ba ho yung ganyang testimonya? Tingnan po natin. Kinakailangan po kasi yan masubstantiate. Dapat physical evidence ang ating ibigay sa hukuman kasi kung testimonya lang, talk is cheap. Pwedeng mabili, o pwedeng matakot. So hanapan pa po natin ng substantiated evidence. No? Hindi lang po yung testimonya ng isang tao.
The palace is confident there is no evidence that would link President Duterte to Pharmacy, adding that all allegations implicating him in the issue or are politically motivated. The Education Department backtracks on its stand on teachers' vaccination as it lays down more guidelines for the pilot run of face-to-face classes. Government officials maintain they are equipped with measures amid the risk of virus transmission. Caroline Bonquin tells us more.
Apart from being not over 65 years old and having no existing illness, the government added a requirement for teachers and school staff joining the test run for in-person classes.
All school personnel, teachers and non-teaching should be fully vaccinated when they participate in the pilot face-to-face.
Just last week, Education Secretary Leonor Briones said COVID-19 vaccination won't be a requirement for teachers. But DepEd and the Health Department finally agreed it's crucial in protecting the still unvaccinated children. The government is not yet giving vaccines to children despite two brands securing approvals for up to as young as 12 years old as officials blame global supply shortage.
When the safety of the state is concerned from a pandemic, the state has the right to impose mandatory precautions.
Hanggat sa maaari na lahat ng humaharap sa bata ay bakunado, yun ang gusto naming mangyari. And the way by which we can protect the children.
Still, education and health officials do not dismiss the possibility of vaccinated adults getting COVID and asymptomatic carriers transferring the virus to children. But they insist safeguard measures are in place.
Testing will not be recommended. What we are going to do would, whenever there would be those children or even the teachers having symptoms, that's the time that we do isolation and then we do testing.
There will be a separate DOH contingency guidelines in case of infection among school personnel and children.
This virus will not be going away. We need to look at how best to provide the opportunity for face-to-face learning to children so that we can compensate the negative effects of not being able to have face-to-face learning.
The Teachers Dignity Coalition agrees with the mandatory vaccination for teachers and says even without the pilot test, teachers should be a priority for vaccines. The group also wants teachers' participation in physical classes to be optional and for DepEd to be liable in case a teacher or pupil gets sick.
Dapat po ito ay panagutan ng DepEd. Dapat gastusan niya ito, natulungan niya ito, no, financially. Ang dami na pong nahawa ng mga teachers. The DepEd would just conveniently dismiss that those infections, non-work related. This time, hindi po kami papayag na ganun-ganun lang.
In a statement, DepEd says the agency has funding for COVID prevention, protection, and compliance with protocols for in-person class pilot run. But medical expenses will depend on what's indicated in the memorandum. Caroline Bonquin, CNN Philippines.
Moving on to a developing story overseas, an earthquake with a preliminary magnitude of 6.5 struck the island of Crete in Greece this afternoon. The European Mediterranean Seismological Center reports the quake had a depth of 2 kilometers. Crete is the largest and most populous of all the Greek islands. It has a population of more than 634,000 based on data from the European Union. Again, this is a developing story. We'll bring you more information on possible casualties and damage as soon as they become available. Now, another global story is making headlines. Turkmenistan's authoritarian government claiming the country has not recorded a single COVID-19 case nearly 2 years since the pandemic began. Its president dismissed reports of infections as fake and told the United Nations that pandemic response should not be politicized. But for journalists and activists outside Turkmenistan, the president is downplaying the situation to maintain his public image. They say the country is allegedly battling a third COVID-19 wave, which is overwhelming hospitals and killing dozens of people. Now, Germany may see a new government in the coming months. Preliminary results show the left-leaning Social Democratic Party, or SPD, getting the largest share of parliamentary seats in Sunday's federal election. SPD narrowly beat German Chancellor Angela Merkel's centrist-right conservative party, the Christian Democratic Union. The SPD will begin negotiations to form a ruling coalition, which could take months. Until then, Merkel will remain as chancellor, a post she has held since 2005. And a win for gender equality in Switzerland. The country legalized civil marriage for same-sex couples after a nearly two-thirds majority vote in a nationwide referendum Sunday. The amended law will also allow same-sex partners to adopt children unrelated to them. Married lesbian couples can also have children through sperm donation. The Swiss Justice Minister says the new rules may take effect July next year. Coming up on Newsnight, updates on the filing of certificates of candidacy for the 2022 polls and voter registration. Plus, we'll discuss measures the president is willing and allowed to take for the safe conduct of elections. Keep it here on Newsnight.
Sa laban ng buhay, katuwang mo ang MX3 Coffee Mix with double amount of Sunzone mula sa mangosteen. May seal of product quality at halal certified. MX3 Coffee Mix is a high source of vitamin C, calcium, low acid, at cholesterol-free that goes well with your healthy lifestyle. MX3 Coffee Mix, my choice.
Nagsimula sa isang pangarap. Ako na po, ma'am. Ika'y tutulungang ibahin ang buhay na nakasanayan.
Naka 24 months ka na sa pag-ibig.
May panghulog na ako sa motor.
Uy, bagong motor!
Gagawa ng hakbang para mapaghandaan ng forever.
Ingat ka, ha?
At harapin ang bukas nang may maaasahan. Simulan mo na ang forever mo ngayon. Fund your forever with Pag-ibig Fund.
Register today!
Beer call muna tayo. Beer call muna tayo. Kahit kailan, walang iwanan. Beer call muna tayo. Beer call muna tayo.
A promise is not always easy to keep. But when it is to the ones you love, it's unbreakable. For all your unbreakable promises, Ford Everest.
When the world was changing for photographic film, we helped change the world as a pioneer of the digital age. In healthcare, we're revolutionizing diagnostics by applying our AI technology. But why stop there? When we can focus our AI and IoT expertise on business innovation, helping tackle some of the toughest challenges in the workplace. When it comes to innovating for a healthier world and a more sustainable society, we'll never stop. Fujifilm, value from innovation.
For my babies, only vet-approved Nutri-Chunks puppies. The only one with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat with essential nutrients to help them grow strong and healthy. Happiness! Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks puppies.
Kumagaan ang inuman pag sanmiglay. Hoy, musta?
Ako, stressed sa work kaya ini-imagine kong nasa beach ako.
Pagkatapos ng mabigat na araw, mag-inuman with friends and sanmiglay.
Ulitin natin to. Ang alin? Imagine?
Hindi, mag-inuman. Sanmiglay.
Welcome back to Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. The COMELEC will impose strict health protocols during the filing of certificates of candidacy from October 1st to 8th. Preparations underway at the Sofitel Hotel in Pasay to cater to national vets joining the 2022 race. All aspirants and their companions must present negative antigen tests, which may be taken on site. The poll body suggests candidates print forms ahead and have them notarized with a documentary stamp to reduce processing time and potential exposure at the venue. A portion of Ross Boulevard near Sofitel will be closed to traffic for security reasons. The venue was chosen for better ventilation compared to the cramped COMELEC headquarters in Intramuros. Now, experts believe securing the 2022 polls is largely a mandate of the Commission on Elections, but this line may be blurred if President Duterte invokes his military powers. More from Melissa Lopez.
The May 2022 elections is just around the corner, with COVID-19 crisis adding to safety threats as politicians battle for power. It's usually the Commission on Elections taking charge of police and military deployment in so-called hotspot areas. But now, President Duterte wants to step in. He says he will be forced to tap the military to ensure peaceful elections. COMELEC, however, says it has the authority to guard against election-related violence. Lawyer Christian Monsod, one of the framers of the 1987 Constitution, points out the poll body has claimed that power since 2019, but it's not absolute.
Under the Constitution, the COMELEC can deputize law enforcement agencies, including the armed forces, for purposes of free and honest, orderly, credible elections with the concurrence of the President.
Monsod clarifies the President can only call upon the military to respond to invasion, rebellion, or lawless violence, which must be justified before Congress and the Supreme Court. A political analyst points out that the commander-in-chief's powers are not meant for election activities, and this time it may be contentious given Duterte's plan to run for vice president.
The other question is, may conflict of interest considering he's a candidate. Mapag-iisipan pa siya ng masama ng mga either kalaban niya sa politika or mga botante.
But another analyst says it's all part of the job.
It's not like it's the first time that the president is going to consider the military to ensure that how he plans to accomplish something, is that it is an option.
Monsod adds, whoever will control the police and military during the elections must be kept in check. He also warns that the anti-terrorism law may be weaponized. Melissa Lopez, CNN Philippines.
Only 3 days to go before voter registration ends. The Commission on Elections says it is closer to making a decision on whether or not to extend the deadline beyond September 30. Just this afternoon, the Senate unanimously approving a bill extending the registration for another month. Chairman Sharif Abbas led ranking COMELEC officials in a management committee meeting this morning. The 7-member COMELEC and Bank will decide on Wednesday.
And the commissioners consulted with the different regional directors and other officials of the COMELEC. We're preparing the recommendation now.
Last week, COMELEC said it can only grant a 1-week extension limited to new registrants and voter reactivation only. The poll body adds it is already pressed for time to finish other preparations
for the May 2022 elections. Now, thousands of Filipinos still struggling to renew or apply for their passports amid the pandemic. Some overseas Filipino workers now worry the delays can even cost them their jobs. Tristan Odalo tells us the Foreign Affairs Department plans to open temporary sites to speed up passport processing.
As early as 5 in the morning of Monday, people started lining up outside the DFA consular office in Parañaque City for their passports.
Kasi para makuha ko yung passport ko at saka ang dami ng tao eh. Kaya maaga pa ako, alas 4, nandito na ako eh.
Struggle is real for many as they keep coming back to follow up on their applications. And not even the rain can stop them.
Lagi po kasing mahaba ang pila. Minsan po inaabutan pa kami ng cut-off. Wala na po kami inaabutan, papel na lang binibigay sa amin lagi. Nakakalimang linggong pabalik-balik na po kami.
The delays in the processing and release of passports also put the jobs of some overseas Filipino workers in jeopardy. Some OFWs have cancelled their flights due to passport delays.
3 buwan na mahigit eh. July 13 pa hanggang ngayon, hindi naman nila, perma lang, hindi nila nire-release. O, 2 cancel na ako sa pag-alis ko sana. O, hanggang ngayon wala.
Pabalik-balik na po ako dito. Tapos wala po silang linaw po sa passport ko po. Na-cancel na nga po yung flight ko nung August pa po.
The Foreign Affairs Department says there's an estimated 2.3 million backlogs on the issuance of passports. Adding to the challenge faced by the DFA are thousands of passport applications with erroneous data. The DFA, however, says it managed to reduce the backlog from 26,000 to 17,000. The DFA is also opening temporary sites in Laguna, Batangas, Davao, Cebu, and more sites in Metro Manila to speed up passport processing. Passport releasing has also been moved to the Double Dragon Plaza in Pasay City, which is open Mondays to Fridays from 8 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. The agency reminds applicants to check first if their passports are ready for pick-up before proceeding to the consular offices. The Department of Foreign Affairs also opens a courtesy lane for OFWs who urgently need their passports, but it should be made online. Passport slots for October through December are also not available at the DFA website as they make the necessary adjustments and to prevent the selling of passport slots on social media. Tristan Odalo, CNN Philippines.
At stateside seismologists say 160 aftershocks have been recorded so far after a magnitude 5.7 earthquake struck the town of Looc in Occidental Mindoro past 1 this morning. Houses in a number of barangays in the nearby municipality or the nearby island municipality of Lubang suffered damage, according to Mayor Mark Orayani. The quake was also felt here in Metro Manila and in the provinces of Cavite, Rizal, and Nueva Ecija. Some residents and workers in office buildings were evacuated. Still ahead on Newsnight, the curtains have been lifted again for a prestigious awards night in theater. And Netflix gives us a first look at its new film starring action stars Dwayne Johnson and Gal Gadot. More details after the break.
Bawat patak, may sarap, may lakas, sulit. Red Horse Beer.
Bank of Commerce. What we are is personal banking, where we understand that every deposit is your hard-earned money. Every loan is for good reason. Every service aids in your convenience. Every business of ours is meant to grow yours. We hear you, feel you, and we act on your every banking need. Bank of Commerce, an affiliate of San Miguel Corporation.
When it comes to heroes, kahit kailan hindi nagkulang ang Pilipinas. Mga taong matapang, lumalaban, at bumabangon kahit may kinakaharap na problema. O yung mga tinatawag nating never say die attitude. I'm Cristela Bello, your 2021 Ginebra San Miguel Calendar Girl, here to show you just how far a ganado sa buhay attitude can take you. Kaya samahan niyo akong kilalanin ng mga taong pwede nating pagkuhanan ng inspirasyon lalo na sa panahon ngayon. Here on Bagong Tapang Stories. comes at the most unexpected time from the most unexpected places. And for filmmaker Peter Polillo, it came when he and his wife were struggling to survive during the pandemic. Dati, sunod-sunod ang pag-shoot ng commercials, wedding videos, at iba pa. Pero dahil sa COVID-19, he lost his source of income. Pati ang kanyang asawa na empleyado ng isang manufacturing company ay nawalan din ng trabaho. While others might have given up, Peter did not. Ginastos niya ang kanyang savings. Binenta na rin niya ang kanyang kotse at camera equipment. Tinulungan pa si Peter ng kanyang boss na nagbigay sa kanya ng pagkakataong bumangon. Nagtayo siya ng isang milk tea business at within 2 months, 6 branches at 4 franchises na ang milk tea house ni Peter. Nagbigay si Peter ng trabaho sa mga out-of-school youth at iba pang hindi makahanap ng pagkakakitaan sa oras na ito. He also started the 10 Drinks, 10 Hospitals project na nagbibigay sa COVID-19 frontliners ng libreng milk tea. With just a little bit of help, Peter went from being in debt to being a success story. Everywhere in the Philippines, there's an unsung hero whose story is just waiting to be told. Just goes to show that even in our day-to-day life, anyone can embody that bagong tapang spirit. I'm Cristel Abello, your 2021 GSM Calendar Girl. See you next time for more stories na nagpapakita na kahit may bagong hamon sa buhay, may bagong tapang sa One Ginebra Nation.
You're watching Newsnight. I'm Pia Ontiveros, recognizing some of the biggest names in theater today. The Tonys are back after being delayed for over a year. Supposedly set for June last year, the event was rescheduled to September 26 due to COVID-19 restrictions. The awards night saw the most wins from Moulin Rouge. They grabbed 10 Tonys, including Best Musical and Best Choreography. Leading the roster for nominated plays is The Inheritance, which received credit for direction and performances by its actors. They took home 4 awards, and despite garnering 12 nominations, the most for any play in Tony's history, Slave Play was left with no accolades. The audience also got to see the return of the first Asian Tony Award winner, our very own Lea Salonga. The former Miss Saigon star attended as a presenter, introducing John Legend before his performance with a cast of Ain't Too Proud to the songs of My Girl and Ain't Too Proud to Beg. And before we go, today's Hollywood Minute is filled with big screen action stars. Here's CNN's David Daniel.
Take it easy.
This is easy.
Gal Gadot shows moves worthy of Wonder Woman, taking down Dwayne Johnson and Ryan Reynolds in the first clip from Red Notice. The big-budget action flick about an FBI agent, an art thief, and a con artist debuts November 12th on Netflix. The sequel to Aquaman doesn't arrive until December of 2022, but its star is already trying to pique fans' interest. Jason Momoa tells Fandango the underwater action sequences in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom have gone to a whole other level, and that the film has a lot more heart. He also praised the comedy in the script. Quote, "I giggled reading it."
The newest member of my family.
Dave Bautista has a new friend. The actor and animal lover had posted on Instagram trying to track down who abandoned the pit bull puppy, who was found eating garbage with a metal chain embedded in her neck. After several weeks of Humane Society care, the dog has a new home, a new name, Penny Bautista, and a new leash on life. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
89 more days before Christmas, and that is it for now. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again at 7 for news.ph. I'm Pia Ontiveros for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.